Carli, welcome back to Seeing Other People.
I'm so happy to be here.
Who would have thought? Was it an email or a DM?
It was a DM. We actually found it. Remember we found it recently because we were trying to remember how we became friends.
Yes. Who would have thought that DM would have led to a virtual recording, would have led to a walk in Central Park, would have led to dinners, and now your third recording of Seeing Other People?
Technically fourth because I was an Unfiltered first.
We've had three.
We did an Unfiltered, and then we did
Oh my God, you're right.
the ghosting one, and then the
Wow.
update one. So now here we are.
You're getting up there as like one of my most repeat guests.
That is amazing. I'm so honored, truly.
I love that. This is the first time we're like lights, camera, action.
I know. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
This is so crazy for me.
So if you want to watch YouTube,
This is what I look like.
this is what she looks like.
Hey.
I so appreciate you coming. The reason Carli is here, not just because she's a great friend, but because she is the greatest friend. And we were FaceTiming yesterday catching up, and I was like, I'm in a panic. Like, I'm falling behind on recordings. She's like, oh, do you want me to come on?
Always
and I'm like,
down.
what are you doing tomorrow? She's like, coming over. I'm like, wow.
Always down to pod. Always down to pod.
And this is a good time for it.
Yeah.
Last time we talked to you, you were working through some early stage like communication issues with a guy that you were in like a great new relationship with. And you shared with the Seeing Other People fam that, you know, you kind of articulated to him like what you need. And he was able to like hear you and kind of work on that with you.
Yeah.
And I do think you guys worked through that like communication hiccup, right?
I do think so. I think there were, the whole like ghosting at the beginning for that week, I think required us to have like a pretty intense series of conversations about like the fact that that can't happen again and what I need in terms of communication and how he also functions in relationships.
Yeah, which I think is amazing to actually talk about. Like, especially I think when you're in your 30s, it's harder to start a relationship because you both are like fully formed individuals at that point. And like maybe in your 20s, you're still figuring yourself out, or like there is so much more like not room for like being more like malleable. Is that the term? Like more flexible.
Yes. And I think when you're in your 30s, likely you've dated at least one other person, even if it was just for a couple of months. And so you know kind of how you function in a relationship and what you really don't like or want and what you do want or like. And even if you haven't been in a relationship before, which is totally fine. I actually have plenty of friends who have never been in relationships. In your 30s, you just start to have a stronger sense of self. And so even with friendships, you start to realize the things that just like really don't work for you, and that does translate into a relationship. So I do think when you're in your 30s, you're less likely to let things kind of just like go unnoticed or go under the rug because you just are more secure in like your center and your moral compass.
Totally. And with that concept of being more secure, like maybe something that bothers you, if it happened when you were in a new relationship at 25, you would have just like brushed it off. But at 30 or 35, you're like, well, if I want this to work, I got to say something. We got to talk through this.
Yes. And it's like, I'm not in a rush at all to get married and have kids and do the thing. And I'm not looking to waste my time. And so unfortunately, when things come up in relationships, even early on, it's important to think about like, is this something that I could continue living with moving forward? Like you have to think about the future a little bit if you're someone who is looking to commit and be serious in a relationship. And that's where I am right now. And so, I'm not looking to be in something where I just keep kind of pushing things under the rug and then it all comes back in a bigger way. And then, you know, you've done this for however many months and you feel like you didn't gain anything from it.
Yeah. So after you talked through the communication stuff with, let's call him Alex.
Sure. Love that.
After you and Alex worked through the communication stuff, was everything like smooth sailing from there? What happened?
Wait, I'm so sorry. Side note. Remember on Unfiltered when I used the name Derek for the person, and then I told you his real name later, and you were like,
Oh my
I
God.
literally could never have guessed.
We're not going to say the name, but that was the last thing I ever expected to come out of your mouth.
Honestly, same. And I was so nervous because it was my first pod and I didn't know you. And
Yeah.
so I just said it. And I remember that my best friend was sitting off to the side and she was like peeing her pants laughing because she was like, what? Like Derek? Alex is a great, that's a good one. Like Alex is a good,
It's a good, you can't go wrong with an
can't go wrong
Alex.
with an Alex.
This was so weird about me, but I was a big name person when I was single. Like, and I don't know why, because every name has like pros and cons, I
Yes.
guess. But if there was a name that was like a little too out there for me,
It was just like a no.
or like something that I never would have pictured myself with,
Sure.
like I don't want to like say a name because I don't want to like throw anyone under the bus
Sure.
here, but it was just like an automatic
That's so
left
interesting.
swipe. Yeah.
I feel like I've been there, like on Hinge, if a guy's name is something that you just kind of get like a feeling and you're just kind of like, and maybe that's just us being too picky, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
So anyway, so with Alex, we worked through the communication issues for the most part. And things were pretty smooth sailing for a while. He essentially moved into my apartment. And that was like surprisingly easy, even though I do live in a studio, it surprisingly made it work. And I invited him into my life in a really big way.
For the record, he didn't actually move in. Like he still had his own
correct.
home.
Yes,
But
that's
just
a good
clarifying.
qualifier. Yes, he only went home if he needed to like get something, but like unless he was traveling, spent every night in my apartment and like had clothes there that were unpacked, and so it felt like he moved in. But yes, he did have his own home. And so yeah, things were pretty smooth sailing, and I invited him into my life in a lot of ways. He met my family and spent weekends with us. He met many of my close friends, either via FaceTime or in person. He even met some of like my work friends, which I consider to be like some of the most important people to me. We did my birthday, like we did all different kinds of things. And I would say probably around month 4 or 5 was like that typical time when you start to talk about like value sets and just kind of like deeper things about who you are as people. And I just started to realize that some of his values are different than mine. And it's not a judgment call at all. It's just that, like, again, when you're looking to like really get into a serious relationship with someone and have a future, you have to think about whether or not your values are aligned. And every person I know, including you, who's in a successful, happy relationship, talks about how those things have to come up pretty early on. Things like money, things like how you want to raise your kids, things about where you want to live, things about even just like how you like to vacation. One of like the first things that came up was that he doesn't want a vacation where there's any relaxation time. Like I was talking to him about, I was listening to a podcast and this girl was talking about her honeymoon, and she was talking about how it was such a perfect balance of spa and pool and then also exploring wherever they went. And I said to him, like, doesn't that sound amazing? And he had said something along the lines of like, oh, I don't do that. Like I don't do pool and spa. And as frivolous as that may sound to someone, it actually was my first sign that like maybe this isn't right, because that's something that you have to be compatible on. Like if you're going on a trip for an anniversary or a honeymoon or just like to have a weekend getaway and you can't agree on what you want to do, that's like a problem.
Also, you're somebody who you go to a certain place a few times a year, and part of that involves relaxing and laying by the pool. And that's something that you enjoy doing. And yeah, like you don't need to have every single one of the same interests, but that's a part of your life. Like imagine like never going on a trip with your life partner to a resort or even just to like relax.
Right. And I totally get that some people don't like to do that, and that's completely fine. I have a lot of friends that would rather do anything else than just lay by a pool. That's totally their prerogative. It's just not mine.
Yeah.
And my family likes to go on, like sometimes my parents for like a big birthday or a big anniversary will take us to like, 3 days at a resort. And I was thinking like, what would happen if he came on that trip with us and was just like miserable the whole time?
Would he come?
I would feel miserable if I knew that he was miserable. And so that was kind of one of the first, I guess, like you could say, values that I started to feel like maybe we weren't compatible. And then there were a few other things that I won't discuss in the pod because they're a little bit more like private and personal in terms of values and how we see the world that started to come up that really started to sit wrongly with me. And I told you about it, and I told a couple of my other friends about it, and everyone was a little bit like, ooh, I don't know about that one. And some of them were about things that would come up when we had kids. And one of the conversations we had was him being like, I think you're thinking too far into the future. And I was like, but I think I have to, because this isn't something that's going to go away at any point. And so I think because I really cared about him and wanted it to work so badly, I just was like, maybe there's a world in which he'll compromise, or maybe there's a world in which we'll find a compromise. But I started to feel like there were so many things, even small things, like where we went to dinner, where it was his way or no way. Mm-hmm. And there was very little bending on his end, even with things like calling me his girlfriend. Like, he was really weird about calling me his girlfriend, referring to me as that, introducing me as that. We like ran into someone that he used to work with on the street, and he was just kind of like, this is Carli, and we've been dating for 6 months. And when I brought it up to him, it was this whole conversation about like, why do you need the label? Which is, I think, something that a lot of people go through with guys. Like, it's this back and forth of, it's just a label. Why do you care why won't you call me if it's just a label? If it's just a label, then why do you care?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
So tough, because on one hand, like exactly that. If it's no big deal, why does someone need it? But if it's no big deal, then why won't you do it?
Right.
If you're sleeping at the same home 5, 6, 7 nights a week, if you are spending time with each other's families, if you are essentially revolving your lives around each other, you are in a relationship.
Fully in a relationship.
And I don't think he would have ever argued that you were in a relationship. Right. But he didn't want to call you his girlfriend.
Correct.
And that's the confusing part.
Correct. So that was, and I brought up to him once, I was like, I will just tell you that if a friend of mine was telling me this story and she said that she dated a guy for 6 months and he wouldn't call her his girlfriend, I would be like, girl, get out of there now. And that stuck with me for so long through so many different conversations that I had with him of, if a good friend of mine or just like a girl that I met for drinks was telling me about this, I would be like, are you in an okay relationship? And that didn't feel good.
And I know you said that to me, and that was something that I've thought about a lot since it came up. And it's the hardest thing in the world, because you were brave enough to acknowledge that, but at the same time, you wanted to make it work. And so you stayed in it. You fought for it to work because you really liked the guy.
Yeah.
And there was so much good
Yeah.
that he was also bringing into your life. Like, that's the hardest part about relationships, especially when you see or feel things that aren't necessarily right. It's like, well, relationships are hard. They take work. So maybe this is the work. Like, it's so easy to kind of just write it off as like, this is the work. This is the hard part. We have to get through this to get to the other side.
Right. And what you just said about like, maybe this is the work resonates with me so much, because I'd been in relationships before, but this was my first relationship that felt pretty serious. Like, the last one I was in was a on and off situationship that was not at all serious. And so when you go into like your kind of first serious relationship, you're kind of like guinea pigging it. Like, you don't really know, and there's no textbook for how these things go. So as much as I can ask you and other friends of mine, like, is this the work? Only you really know if this is the work or if this is not workable.
And I do remember a conversation we had earlier on where you were saying like, it's really hard, but I guess like relationships are supposed to be hard. And I wanted to say it shouldn't be this hard this soon. Early. Like, this should be like the good part. But I also didn't want to put that on you, because every relationship is different.
Right.
So it's a tough situation to be in, but I will say, like, from the outside looking in and as your friend, I have been so proud of how you handled this situation every step of the way, because I definitely was not mature enough, was not insightful enough, was not like, didn't have enough self-respect for myself when I was single to have handled it the way you did, which was actually like asking the hard questions, telling your friends the bad parts of it. You know, so often we try and just tell them the good parts because we want them to be cheering for us. But you
Yeah.
were very open and honest, not like with your friends, but also with him and with yourself.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. That's really nice. I will say that I feel really good about pretty much everything that I did in the relationship,
Amazing.
which is rare for me in any relationship. Obviously, there are mistakes that I made that takes two to tango always. But overall, I feel really good about, yeah, how I stuck to my values and my morals and what I knew to be true.
Mhm.
Um and that continued, you know, at month 8 mark. Wow, the
That's
8 month mark.
crazy.
Yeah. When at the 8 month mark, he was like, I have to move across the country for a job. Um and it had been a conversation that had come up of like, this might have to happen, but kind of let's not like get ahead of ourselves kind of. And then it all happened very quickly, and it was essentially like, I have to move across the country and it's happening in 2 weeks. And so I had to make a really quick decision about whether or not I wanted to do long distance, what that was going to look like. It didn't have an expiration date in terms of when the long distance was going to end. And one thing that my parents had said to me, because they did long distance for a bit when they like first started dating, was we only did it because we knew that in 6 months we were going to be living in the same city and we could make it work for 6 months.
Yeah.
And they were like, we were able to travel to see each other every other weekend, da da da. We were not going to be able to make that work financially, time wise, distance wise. It was just not going to be able to make that work. However, in the vein of I really wanted this to work, I decided to give it a try. He was super confident in doing it. Like when it first came up that he may have to move, I was like, and what happens to us? And he was like, nothing. What are you talking about?
That's
And
surprising.
I know.
Like, based on everything else.
Correct.
That's so surprising.
And that was his general theme. He
Yeah.
seemed throughout this whole long distance thing, he seemed super secure in doing long distance and it being okay and being hard, but we'll figure it out. So I think his confidence made me feel really confident, you know, like I think it would make anyone feel confident. If the one person who's actually doing the move is like, no, we're going to make this work, and you want to make it work, you're like, okay, yeah, we're going to make this work. So he did move, and dropping him at the airport was the hardest day. I literally had to pull over driving because I was just like hysterical. You sent me Wonder that night.
I did.
It was so ideal.
Well, you went into that night saying, I'm going to break up with him.
Yeah. There was a brief moment where I was like, do I just at the airport say, let's just cut it? And I kind of called an audible. I think I just wasn't ready for it to be a complete split. If I think back on it now, because spoiler alert, we did break up. If I think back on it now, I think I was thinking the long game for myself. And I was actually thinking subconsciously that the breakup would be easier if he had already moved, which ended up being the case. And we'll get there. But yeah, I mean, I dropped him at the airport and it was like, I'll talk to you later. Like and then it was like, I was planning on going out to LA that summer at some point to see my best friend that lives out there. So I was going to see him because he lives by there, you know.
You did send me a mega text, though, that said, I have a feeling I'm never going to see him again.
I did. And I think that is the case.
Yeah.
So we did long distance for 2 weeks. Surprise, surprise. It was so hard. And I think it was hard because in my head, I'd already broken up with him. And so I wasn't even like trying to put the work in. Like when he'd call me, I would just kind of be like, oh, and like that's a horrible feeling.
And it's not because you didn't want to talk to him. It's just because like, what's the point?
What's the point? Yeah. And like also seeing other people, fam, if your partner calls you and your first reaction is, oh, maybe like consider
Is this the right
Yeah.
relationship? Because it's probably not.
Totally. So so then we had an argument probably at the 2-week mark, and I'm not going to go into it because it's very private for him, but what it brought up to me was that there are things about him that are very deep for him that he is not willing to talk about to anybody, me, a professional, a friend, a family member, and it was a complete non-starter for him that I even tiptoed on bringing it up. And in my head, I quite literally felt like a flip in my head where I was like, all of these things leading up to this, the not calling me his girlfriend, the, by the way, not saying I love you after me saying it first, ever saying it, like not meeting anybody in his life. I never met a single friend, work person, family member. And then this thing and all the values that I felt like we weren't compatible on. I was like, all right, if this isn't the nail in the coffin, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
So then it was just a matter of figuring out how and when, because breaking up with someone via FaceTime or phone is just not ideal. And you know what's so crazy is that my other relationship before Derek, I guess technically, I broke up with him via Zoom because we were long distance during COVID. So I've actually only ever broken up with someone.
I got broken up with twice in a row over FaceTime.
No.
Yeah. Like during COVID.
It's the worst way to break up with someone or be broken up with, I think. Like, because then you just hang up and you're like.
Yeah. Actually, one was long distance. And then one was COVID.
Yeah. I mean, it feels really awful to me that both times I have been the person that's broken up with them, and both times it's been over some form of video chat. Woof.
Yeah, same situation. One's long distance and one's COVID.
Yeah.
Listen,
that's crazy.
If it's what has to happen, it's better than not doing it.
Well, right. And I was like, I'm gonna be in LA in August. Do I want to wait until then? Like that,
even worse.
That doesn't feel good. So, I didn't expect it to happen when it did. It happened on a morning. We were FaceTiming, just like a regular morning FaceTime. And he was like, I can tell that something's wrong. What's wrong? And I just ripped it. And I just said, I mean, obviously I was hysterical, but I was like, this argument we had the other day just really made me realize that we're not compatible. And it's that stuff that you're not willing to go into. Like it is impacting who you are as a partner. It's going to impact who you are as a parent. And I know that you are more thinking in the here and now, but I'm more of a forward thinker, and I have to consider that. Yeah. And I have no bad feelings towards you. I love you. I want the best for you. I don't want to not know about your life. I just can't be in a partnership with you. And it was really hard and horrible. And he was, surprised, I think. And most of the time just kind of sat there and watched me cry because what else what are you going to say? And at the end of the FaceTime, he was like, I really care about you. I hope you know that. And I know that. I do. I have no question in my mind that he cares. And he has no question in his mind that I care. And that was it.
How did you let yourself, for lack of a better term, stay in a relationship for 8 months where you did not meet a single person in his life?
Such a good question. I think this theme of I really wanted it to work. And there were excuses like most of my friends live not in New York. When my work friends and I go out for drinks, it's just us. No one really brings their plus ones. I think I just kind of rested on my laurels of being like, one day I'll meet them. Yeah, and I know that I was making excuses to myself and to other people. I know that I was. And I just like really wanted to believe that one day I would meet people.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of all I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. No, it's a totally
Yeah.
valid answer.
It was unfortunate.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. Looking back, what would you have done differently? Or what do you, is there anything you wish you could like go back 4 months or 6 months and tell yourself?
Well, I do almost wonder what would have happened if I had just ended it after he had ghosted me.
Mm.
I brought that up to one of my best friends the other day. I was like, do I regret just not cutting it? Because like, shouldn't that have been sign enough? But my response to myself to that is, no, I don't regret that, because I learned even more about the kind of partner that I really do want. And things that are really important to me that I didn't realize were really important to me. Like, do they have a lot of friends? Do they like to hang out with their friends? Do they like introducing their friends to people? When they go on a vacation, what's the balance of like relaxing and adventure? How do they like to spend money? Like, if we have a child that comes home and says XYZ, how do we respond to that? Right. So I think that I don't know if there's anything that I would change, actually, because in this case, I do feel like I learned a lot about myself and the kind of partner that I want.
I agree. And I think that's a great answer. And I think that's something where every single situation, every relationship we're in, there's so much to take away and bring into future ones. And I know you've had a really tough time with all of this, but you're doing amazing. And again, like, I'm proud of you. And I just have so much admiration for how you handled the whole thing.
Thank you. I mean, I think that's probably why I don't have regrets, because I stuck to my guns and like you said, asked the hard questions and stood up for myself in a way that I've never done before. So I do think that that's one of the reasons that there isn't anything that I would go back and change necessarily.
Yeah. It's so hard because it's so like two things can be true at the same time. It's like you were with somebody who like you loved spending time with them. There were so many different things about him that you like appreciated, that you loved, that like you that ways he made you felt so good that you loved.
Yep.
And at the same time, like anyone who hears like, well, he ghosted me at first and then, you know, he refused to call me his girlfriend, didn't say I love you back. I never once met a single one of his friends or family or coworkers or anything. Like, it's shocking that to this day, like, he's not living a double life.
I know.
Like,
I know.
can't believe we didn't never figure that out.
I know.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And I think the thing that kept playing in my head was, if a friend of mine was telling me these points after points after points, I would have to say something to her.
Yeah.
You know? And I think part of it is like, you don't actually know everything that goes on in a relationship, only you do. But at the same time, there are enough points there to make it so that like I got out, and I should be really happy that I did.
Yeah, I agree. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. We're going to shake it off a little bit.
Woo.
And we're going to get some
Okay,
giggles
I love
in. I don't know if we're going to actually giggle, but we're going
That's all
to
right.
do some listener questions.
That's all right. Let's do it.
Carli, I have a list of 14 listener questions here. All different scenarios.
Okay, love it.
Pick a number.
Lucky number 7.
Number 7. I matched with someone amazing on an app and we've been texting 2 weeks, but I matched with someone amazing on an app and we've been texting for 2 weeks. But every time we try to make plans, he cancels last minute with a valid excuse. Work, family stuff, etc. Should I give it more time or move on?
Oy. I would feel really frustrated if that was the case. I think I would probably give it one more shot.
Yeah.
And then cut it. I think it's a little bit of a he wanted to, he would. It sounds like these excuses are legit, but also like, how many times can someone make up excuses?
Yeah, I would say, I wonder, like, pay attention more to, is he like being genuine when he has that excuse and giving you a new date? Like, if
Right,
he's
like,
like,
is he-
I'm so sorry. Like, I really want to make this work. Like, when are you free next week? Like, let's do next Thursday or something.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, it's like, you don't know each other yet.
Right.
You've never met. If it happens a third time, like, cut your losses and move on.
Yeah, because to me, it's like, it's just kind of like, I don't know. I just don't want to keep like waiting
Yeah,
for you.
exactly.
Like, I don't know you.
We're
Why
busy.
do I keep waiting for you?
Exactly.
You know?
And then the more it happens when you finally do like, meet, it's going to like be so built up that you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, well, we've come this far. It's been a month now.
Totally. Yeah.
All right, pick another.
3.
Can we talk about people who are great over text but weird in person? Why does this keep happening?
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I've experienced that. Have you experienced that?
100%.
Okay. And I've also experienced the other way, where people are weird over text but then amazing in person, which is they're both so confusing. I think that someone can be amazing over text because there's like they're hiding behind something, right? And then when you get to be in person, there's a lot more that you can't control. There are variables that are out of your control. When you're texting, you can delete, you can edit, you can. So I think, why does it keep happening? I also think because more of us are hiding behind our screens instead of meeting in person, which is why I think we should all be just like outside meeting people more rather than being on our screens.
For sure. That and pick up the phone, ask to do a phone call before a date, ask to FaceTime, like do these things that will save you so much more time later.
100%.
Yeah. I try and text exactly the way I talk. And
You
I think
do.
I do.
You do. Do I?
I think so.
The thing that I do that I always get made fun of for is that I send like 30 texts, but they're all kind of short.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I do the exact same thing. And I acknowledge that it's so annoying because also I like for some reason, like the last, I'd say like year, I've gotten worse and worse at like responding to things. And like if I get overwhelmed, I let text build up on my phone. And I don't mean to like not respond. It's like my good friends and like people I care about texting me. But like there are just some times and days where I'm like, I can't. Like if anyone texts me today, they're just not getting a response unless it's something like so urgent because I don't have the bandwidth. I literally don't have it in me to like get into a text conversation. And so I let it build up. So then if someone's sending me like 10 texts to communicate one thing, that's going to like annoy me so much because I'm going to leave it marked as unread. And then it's going to turn 37 into 47 unread messages. And that's going to make me even more stressed.
Correct. And that's my bad.
Mine too.
You should have one of those, like, I don't know if you can, but can you have like a bounce back text that's like, I don't have the bandwidth for this today, but.
No, but that's so rude.
No, it's not.
I think it's rude to like a friend.
I feel like it's like, I see this. I love you. I will respond to this. I'm just like so busy today.
Yeah, I guess. I could also just send that text. But then I would still have to mark it on as unread so that I remember to go back to it.
It's like such a thing.
It's so funny because I remember for so many years wishing they had a mark it as unread feature.
And now they do.
And now they do. And I'm like, ooh, this isn't great either.
Yeah, it's a dangerous thing because sometimes like if I wake up to pee in the middle of the night, I'll like look at my text, which I should never do. And then I forget that I opened them.
Yep.
And I should mark them as unread, but I don't. So it's both. It's all bad.
I will say not checking my phone when I wake up to pee has like changed my life.
I know, and I need to be better about it.
It's just so nice. I actually do. I have a Hatch alarm
Me too.
clock.
I love my Hatch.
So there's a setting where you can decide like from this hour to this hour, I don't want to see the time. And so I have it set from like
that.
I think it's from 11 to 7. It doesn't show me the time. And so I know if I wake up in the middle of the night and I don't see the time, okay, it's a time when I should go back to sleep. Like it doesn't matter. I don't need to check my phone because it's literally the middle of the night.
I'm obsessed with that. I'm going to do that.
It's great.
Do you sleep with your phone in another room?
No, it's next to my bed, but I don't check it.
I love that. I'm going to try that. I've also been trying to sleep with my phone across the room.
Yeah. I mean, I've done it.
It's hard.
It's great. So what I do is I have my Kindle next to my bed. So I read before I fall asleep.
And then do you fall asleep with sound on? Like, do you have any sound that you fall asleep to?
You know, I used to. So up until, because it's summer, we have to like blast the AC all night. Yes. And it's so loud. And so I used to use the Hatch where I would have like, I would have like a light for 30 minutes. And then I would have one of the like bedtime podcasts. Do you listen to those?
Sometimes.
Okay. Big History from A to Zonk fan.
Okay.
Love.
Noted.
Love.
I am addicted to falling asleep to Gilmore Girls.
Oh, that's funny.
It is a huge.
That's wholesome.
It is so wholesome. Thank you for saying that. But it's also like an issue because I know that you're not supposed to fall asleep with the TV on. And I wear an eye mask, but I do think it probably gets in the way of my deep sleep, which my Oura Ring says that I don't ever get any of.
Oh.
I get like max 30 minutes of deep sleep a night, which is bad.
I feel like I get like 30 to 60.
60's good.
Let me
That's
see.
good.
I'm curious now.
Like last night I got like 23 minutes of deep sleep.
Oh my.
And it's always in the red.
Let's see. Aura. I love checking my stats. It's
You
so
got
funny.
a 90 sleep score? I don't think I've gotten a 90 sleep score in my life.
Yeah, I guess so. I haven't had one in a while.
Oh my
Wait,
gosh.
just kidding.
Wait, that's crazy.
The last 3 days, 90, 95. Then I had 61, 65, 77, 82, 61, 62. So don't be too jealous.
Okay.
It definitely ebbs and flows.
Today I got an 81, which I was thrilled about, which is like some of my highest I've ever gotten. I don't think I've ever gotten in the 90s.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry to tell you this, an hour and 50 minutes of deep sleep last night. Maybe you should try turning off Gilmore Girls.
But I can't.
Try the bedtime podcast.
A to Zonk.
History from A to Zonk.
Okay.
So I would listen to those before bed, but now with the air conditioning on, it's too loud. So I have to turn the hatch on to like full volume, and like that's too loud.
Okay.
So lately
now it's
I read until I like can't keep my eyes open, and then I just fall asleep. It's
That
lovely.
sounds delightful.
It is. I've finished 34 books this year. No, I know
What?
it's insane. It's insane. That's more books than I've read in my entire life.
That's amazing. Should I get a
know.
Kindle?
Yes. Oh my God, that also changed my life. I never read until I got a Kindle. And it was something I last minute put it on our wedding registry. I put 2 Kindles on it. And my cousin, thank you, Angie. You know you've changed my
Shout out
life.
Angie.
Shout out Angie, we love you. Angie got one of them, and then right before our honeymoon, I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna buy the other because like we should both have Kindles.
Correct.
And completely changed my life.
Do you have the whole like page turner thing?
Yeah. I have the page turner. I have this giant pink poof that has like a stand in it. And so it's the best. I'll show you.
Okay.
My Kindle, my reading setup is
elite.
I
am
highly recommend. I'll make a whole little like post and like everything.
Please do.
All right, pick another number.
13.
I was a bridesmaid for a friend who's now pretty much ghosting me after her wedding. I'm really confused. I don't know what I did. Not to mention I spent a lot of money, time, and emotional energy on her wedding and all of the wedding events leading up to it. Do I reach out or do I let it fade?
Wow, that's so hard. I would 100% reach out. I feel like nothing good comes of just kind of pushing something under the rug, especially with a friend. If you're a bridesmaid, I'm assuming you're good friends. Yeah. And I think personally, I would call or I would text her and say, can we hop on the phone? I do not believe in confronting people over text. I think nothing good happens over text. I think there's too much that you can misunderstand because you don't hear tone. I think text her and say, hey, it's been a minute. Like, can we hop on the phone or FaceTime? And if she says yes, then get on the phone and kind of see what the vibe is and say, you know, since the wedding, I've kind of felt like things have changed. Like, is everything okay? Did I do something? If you text her and say, can we hop on the phone or FaceTime, and she seems dodgy, that's a little bit trickier. But then I think in that case, you can be like, okay, listen, it seems like things have changed since the wedding. I hope that I didn't do something to upset you. If I did, I'd really appreciate you letting me know. And I hope to talk on the phone soon. I think, I don't know. What would you do?
No, I agree. And I think if you kind of get blown off and you have to say something over text, I think leading with like, I'm not sure, maybe I'm in my head, but I feel like you've been a little distant and I want to like, make sure that everything's okay with you, but also like if it's something just like with me, like please let me know because I'd love to talk through it.
Yeah. I think what you said
like
is really smart.
Everything okay?
Yeah, and as a teacher, I always teach about I feel statements, and that's something that we forget. But putting it on yourself instead of putting it on them will immediately make them not go on the defense. I think if you say like I feel this way, I want XYZ, or like I'm wondering XYZ, instead of being like you this, you that, I think that will hopefully help you get some clarity.
What's another life lesson that you teach?
Oh my gosh.
I feel like everyone could use some childhood lessons.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny, like kids these days are exposed to so much. And and it's so crazy how much kids know that we didn't know, whether that's because they are exposed to it, you know, through like just listening to their family watch the news or like on iPads or whatever. So one thing that I talk with them a lot about actually is like, I understand that it might be frustrating for you to be a kid and for people to say like, oh, you're just a kid. And like, there are things that you're not ready to know yet. But I guess that doesn't really apply to like adults.
No, but I think that's a good point. Oh, I mean, yeah, we're not talking to kids right now.
We can cut that one. I think
no, I like it. I like it though, because I also think like, I mean, I wish I could go back and like be a kid more. Like we spend so much of our childhood like just like wanting to be an adult.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was like 5 years ago. I was like, wow, I finally understand the phrase like youth is wasted on the young. Oh. And it is just so true.
Naps are wasted on the young too.
Yeah.
No, I would say my most important life lesson that I try and teach is if you make a comment about someone's appearance and they can't fix it in 5 seconds, don't do it. And I have this lesson that I do where I cut out a heart and I have them each write their name on it. And we pass it around and they wrinkle it and then they have to try and smooth it out. And when it gets back around the circle, it's like completely torn and wrinkled and you can barely see the names on it. And there's this little rhyme that goes along with it that's before you speak, think and be smart. It's hard to fix a wrinkled heart.
I'm going to cry.
Which is like, you know, I tell them really real stories about when I was in elementary school and people said really mean things to me that wrinkled my heart, and now I'm going to cry, that I can't unhear and that have completely traumatized me and impacted how I see myself and see the world. And so there's like an immediate sense of empathy that has to be felt, and an understanding that like even if you say something off the cuff to someone, whether it's about their appearance or whether it's about who they are as a person, like that's going to stick. So yeah, I think just being a lot more careful and understanding and not just tolerant, but like embracing of others, I think is something that we can all use right now.
Your students are so lucky to have you. Their parents are so lucky.
That's so nice.
You're their teacher.
I love them. Thanks.
All right, let's do one more.
Okay. What did we do? We did
3, 7, and 13.
Okay. 10.
What do you do when your friend starts dating someone that you can't stand?
Oh. If you're just listening and you're not watching, I literally just like my eyes just roll back into my head.
Her whole head just tossed back. Like in such defeat.
Yeah. Because once again, we've all been there. My advice is, or my question for you actually first, for you to do some reflecting on is, can you not stand them because they like annoy you or rub you the wrong way? Or can you not stand them because they don't treat your friend well? Mm-hmm. Those are two different things. If they are just like a person that really gets your goat and you like just you find them like annoying or weird, like fresh or like whatever, fresh, who am I? Like am I our parents? Then it's a different story because that's like, yeah, we're always going to have to be around people that we don't like. If it's something where you feel like they're not treating your friend well, that's another story. And I don't remember who said this. I think it was my sister's friend. You have one shot to tell your friend how you feel. You have one shot. And if they listen to you, cool. If they don't and they continue to stay with the person, you have to make it clear to them that you love them and support them no matter what. And you just want them to be happy.
Yes.
And you have to, next time you see that their partner, you have to be as nice and as accepting and as great as you were before you told your friend that you didn't think their partner was good for them.
I agree. Otherwise, you're going to end up getting like isolated and your friend's not going to open up to you about the friendship anymore. And it's you have to be supportive. And that's the same thing. Like if you see that your friend is really struggling in her relationship, but she doesn't want to leave, she doesn't want to talk about it. Like, again, it's just like, I love you and I'm here for you. And I just want you to be happy. And no matter what happens, like, you have me.
Yeah. I think that is something that is so important to hear, especially as someone who is just in a relationship where like, I know that all my friends had pause. And you were really good about this where I would say to you, like, I think I need to break up with him. And you wouldn't say things like, I think you should. I think you would just say things like, I'm really proud of you. And no matter what you choose, you're being really strong and handling this well. And I think that means a lot to a person who is already feeling unsure, knowing that if and when things end, that they have their kind of safety net behind them no matter what. And if they don't end it and they continue to stay with that person, that they still have their safety net is really, really key.
Totally. And I think if you're like just like icked out by the person that they're dating, or like you think they're weird, or like you think your friend can do better, I would just talk to your friend and be like genuinely like curious of like, tell me like all the best things about them. Like, what do you love about them? Like, I want to hear like why you're feeling so giddy, you know, not, and don't say it like because I think they're weird, but like, I'm so happy that you seem so happy. Like, tell me more, and maybe like expose yourself to the good parts.
Yeah. See them through your friend's eyes.
Yeah.
I love that. Because clearly if your friend's dating them, there's something about them that they like.
There's gotta be.
Yeah.
Or they're like being blackmailed. Like, who knows?
Yeah. The other thing that I would say to be careful of is try not to shit talk your partner's or your friend's partner with your other friends.
For sure.
I think that just creates.
You just shouldn't shit talk in general.
Agreed.
Nothing good ever comes out of it.
Couldn't agree more. It also just, it'll create animosity. It'll get back to your friend. It's just like not worth it's not worth it. Yeah.
This has been, of course, amazing. Fourth time's charm.
Fourth time's a charm.
There will be a fifth. Instead of asking you for the best piece of dating advice, what's your best piece of breakup advice?
That's a great question. I would say that when you are broken up with or break up with someone, there's almost always the immediate regret and the rose-colored glasses that come with it of like, did I do the wrong thing? Or if they break up with you, like thinking about all the things that you're going to miss about them. And one thing that I did that is super tangible that was really helpful was before I broke up with him, I actually wrote down on a note on my phone the things that gave me pause about him. So that when I started to have those regrets, I went back to the note and was like, it's not like a shit list. It's just like the reasons you broke up with them.
Yeah. You didn't do it on a whim.
No, I didn't do it on a whim. And whenever I feel, because, you know, healing isn't linear and I still have these moments where I feel like, did I do the right thing? And then I go back to this note and I'm like, you know what? This really wouldn't have worked. And on that same note, I also wrote down the things that I learned about myself that I know I want in a future partner. So I think that's like a really tangible piece of advice.
I agree. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I hope that's helpful. I love you.
Thanks
for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yay.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.